Hey, folks, one of the Redneck Country Podcast. You are on with Real Redneck Todd Millard. And, of course, we've got the almost guy, Real Redneck Bill Tom. Bill, are you there?
I am here, and it's a beautiful night for a podcast.
It's actually, the of 2020, probably the most beautiful night for the podcast.
Of 2020.
Sorry, 2021? I don't even know what year it is anymore.
Are you a full year behind schedule? That explains a lot.
I haven't even come outside. I think you're not wrong. Yeah. I don't know. I've been locked down here. What is it? Is it even in the? Maybe it could be like the year 3000 by now. I have no idea.
Year of our life, and he can't even keep track of it.
No, you can't do it.
I'm still on March break of 2020, so that's okay.
That's it. And what else we got on?
Well,
you
as you heard,
your dad tonight.
Yeah, I don't even know if I need to, right? Because he's just going to blurt out anyway. Like I was going to say, is your mic hot? Now we know it's hot. But yes, we have the patriarch of Redneck Country, my father, Real Redneck, Don Millard. Dad, unfortunately, yes, your mic's hot.
I am here. A beautiful night for a podcast and a walk. It's lovely out. The snow's gone. It's mild. I'm not wearing 3 coats, a scarf, and a neck muffler. It's just awesome.
A neck muffler.
Yeah.
We could use a muffler, but I don't think we need it on his neck.
Yeah, I tell you, you can turn that truck off at any time because we're done. We're done with this snow.
You think so? I don't know. I heard Monday it's coming again. Global warming's almost another month of it running in my laneway. We could get somewhere.
We can get there. And I tell you what, if you wait long enough, my house will be in your front yard because the wind here is unbelievable tonight.
Is it really?
I actually had to come inside so I could be heard.
Oh, it died down here. It was windy all day, really windy. It was blowing garbage. It was our garbage day. It was blowing cans and boxes down the street and then emptying them and like garbage all over the place. But it's died down now.
Dad was grocery shopping and yard sailing. That's all I heard.
Yeah. You just stop things as they come by if they interest you.
Is that a Joe Louis still in the wrapper? Grab that thing.
But I tell you, I'm kind of worried. My boat's out in the front yard there, and I got home from work and it was swaying and rocking around.
Was it in your backyard when you went to work, and now it's in your front yard?
I'm kind of worried about that. I was starting to get a little bit more interest. I ordered a battery charger today for it, and
did you?
Started to get some bits and pieces and stuff ready to go for the springtime, and it's getting warm enough now that I think that we can start to do the varnishing and getting the wood finished so that when the ice goes out, we can actually get it in the water. And
you're going to do it. You're in, huh?
Yeah, I'm all in. I mean, I've got 2 batteries now. I got a bunch of stuff that I was waiting for, from a financial standpoint, just to get the money in the right spot so I could afford to invest in the last bits and bobs. And now it's just a little bit of time equity, and we're rolling.
Time equity.
Yep. It's tough to find time to do these small projects. You brought
the intelligence tonight. Yes, well, we need some time equity, and we will have the vessel in the H2O.
We need to invest in ourselves, and to do that, the equity is. I don't know what I'm going to say here, but I got my cup of tea, and we're going to say, yes, this is where we're going tonight.
You go, girl.
Hey, so what's with the sticker? I saw a sticker on Facebook. You joined a new club or what?
Yeah, well, and I didn't even know it. So it's so cool. I thought that was the neatest thing. And I'm almost jealous because as Redneck Country, maybe we need to look into something like that. But yeah, I just went online and now I got the kayak. And now what is really friggin' cool is the fact that they've opened up like fishing tournaments. And you can't say virtual because you're not playing video games. Like you go do it, but they're not. Oh, okay. You got to come to Lake Simcoe, and it's for this time to this time. Weigh-ins at this time. Go right, and you got 50 boats show up, and they're all the big bass boats. Da 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 da. So I knew there was kayak fishing tournaments for bass and stuff like that around, but this is like the coolest thing. So I found this, and it is a bass group for kayak, so a kayak bass group, but they also have tournaments that now you just need this hog trough is what they call it, which is how you measure the fish, but they're all virtual. So now it's like anywhere in your state, you're between this date and this date or this time and this time, you go pick a lake, pick a pond, whatever, go out in your kayak and fish. You catch the bass, you put it in the trough, you take the picture, and you have to have like your license and registration, whatever, with it, and then send it in. And then you're entered in the tournament. You've entered that fish. And so it's not like, so in a way, the COVID has kind of made this really, really neat. So now they've brought it here too. And so anyway, I found this Facebook group and I joined it. And when I joined it, they're like, oh, go to our website and go there too. There's some forums and stuff like that. And so I did. And I just signed up and it says, it's free. You put in your email and you put in your address and you put in all that jazz. So I did all that. And lo and behold, I got a decal, I got a membership card, and I didn't pay a thing or nothing. And so it's kind of cool.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, right.
You're legit now. You've got that sported on the side of your kayak or your truck, and you'll be known everywhere you go with the kayak fishing mafia or whatever you call yourselves.
Well, I haven't put it on yet because I don't know what to do. It is just cool. So the Facebook group's called Kayak Bass Fishing. And so I went and joined that, and then they have a website. So I joined. Yeah, I got a membership card. I got that decal. I got another waterproof decal that in case, you're supposed to put on your kayak with your address and everything in case it gets lost. Hopefully somebody will return it. I don't know. I guess with the wind that we have right now, mind you, mine's sitting right here beside me in the house, so I'm okay for now. It
hasn't moved yet.
Well, it did. It went from the dining room to my downstairs living room.
Your wife is a saint. You know that?
Easy. I'm thankful she doesn't listen to this.
She puts up with a lot.
More than you would ever know.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you get style points for staying in the kayak? Because I'm seriously concerned about your safety and health and well-being with this kayak. And you seem to try to convince me that you're going to stay in it for a day of fishing, but I can't see it.
My dude, I'm telling you, these things are rock solid stable. Like, hey, you sit way up on top with like a 360 swivel seat. It's not a sit-in kayak. You're on it. But then the videos I seen online, the guys are standing up fishing like they're on a bass boat, like on the deck. Okay. And then there's guys sitting on the edge with their feet hanging in the water, reach down, lip a bass, pull it out. I mean, how many boats can you sit on the edge like that and hang your feet over, smaller vessels, and that thing doesn't kind of, like you do that on 12-foot aluminum, you're going swimming.
Well, we'll be there for the first time. I'm anxious to get out there with you. And like I told you before, I'll bring a change of clothes and I'll only pack a small amount of tackle.
You better buy a dry bag.
Yeah. My phone will be in a Ziploc bag. It's going to be, And then you can make your decision whether you want to go on or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Sink or
you
swim.
Be the test pilot there for me. Because he won't sit still. He won't stand still. He'll be one side to the other. So
this is my fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's not the fact that the kayak is not indestructible, it won't tip. He's going to go over.
I'll bring some joust sticks, Bill. We'll do like American Gladiators.
Yeah. Last man standing.
Fishing pole canisters, like the holders, and we'll dance.
We're getting close to a few seasons too. You guys doing any drive scouting? Seen any birds in fields or?
I've seen a whack load because the weather's getting nicer, right? And so Dad was just saying this. So we went trap shooting last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon. And so we flew down to the gun club, and on our way there was some, I was pointing them out. I mean, Dad and his buddy Bill there, I don't know if they could see that far, and if they might have fallen asleep on the way, but I was pointing them out. He's just there's 5 turkeys. Hey, there's 8 turkeys. And so I was and in spots where we have like rabbit hunted before, but we've never turkey hunted. So I don't know. I said we might have to go get permission there, but I was seeing them out quite a bit yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty pumped. And then the deer, they were everywhere too.
The deer are herding up. They're big groups of deer, like 30s.
So Dad's got a theory. Break your theory down on the deer thing, Dad.
Well, they herd up in the spring.
Yeah, but I'm like, man, there's a lot of deer around. He's like, well, people think that this area, there's a lot of deer in this area. There's a lot of deer in that area because they see all that. But really, it's where you would normally see 1 or 2 quite often. Now you see all 15, 20, 25 together.
Yeah.
So he said it's the same amount. It's not like there's a lot of deer. They're just all herded up. So when you see them, you see them.
Oh yeah, I got a friend takes pictures. They herd up in his fields every spring. He's counted up to 70 in one herd. And there's a lot of deer around where we live here. There's a lot of deer spread out in the bush.
That there is. We probably have the best
But
hunting.
when they herd up, it's nothing to see 40, 50, 60 deer together. But
that's
they
crazy.
just come together. And then right now the geese are pairing up. Like we had, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 pairs of geese when we pulled into the gun club, and I could hear geese everywhere. They were all around us in all the cornfields, but they were coming in pairs and leaving in pairs, and then they'd come back and then they'd leave.
Yeah, they were working on one of the traps. The guy came over, Bill Malcolm came over, and he says his hands are just full of grease. He goes, "You want some camo paint on your face?" I said, "You know what? If it was a week ago and season was open, I'd be laying out there over there in that field. Heck yeah."
Yeah, he says
the amount of geese that we're seeing down. I'm seeing down. I drive from Richmond Hill north to Barrie here, and there's a lot of farm fields and fields, and the geese are just piling in now. And I'm thinking, too bad the season wasn't now, because they're everywhere around here.
Yeah, and the swans are coming back.
Yeah. I saw some a couple weeks ago.
Yep. Spring has sprung.
The worst part is I had to put snowmobile away last weekend because we're getting warmer weather and stuff. And
did you get your money's worth?
No, you know what? I think I did. I mean, I went out a lot more this year than I ever did. I invested more into it because I broke it almost every time I went out. But now next year I've got a new snowmobile and probably no snow, but we'll see. But one of the last times I went out, I didn't get really a chance to tell you this, but I've kind of figured out why there's no rabbits or turkey around here. Violet and I went for just a little bit.
You texted me this.
Long. Yeah. And I'm no word of a lie. I saw 7 coyotes back behind the house, and we went 2 kilometers one way, and then we came back. So by the time I got to the end of the field, underneath the hydro wires, I made a left, and I went down. There's a chicken coop or a chicken farm type deal that they got, and Violet points out, "Hey, there's a coyote." She taps me on the shoulder as we're going. We weren't going fast because I wanted to see if there was coyotes, because the tracks were everywhere. And sure enough, two coyotes, and then I think there was a third one there. Yeah, no, there was 4 coyotes right there, and then we got to the end of the field. There was another one running away, and we came back in another section. We saw it's just, there's no wonder that there's no small game or turkeys around here, or deer for that matter anymore.
What I took in from that whole conversation.
What's that?
Bill's got a new excuse for being the almost guy when it's deer hunting season.
Yeah. Well, I'm almost thinking I should be doing a few coyote hunts here and starting to thin out the herd.
No doubt.
We used to see turkeys and I've shot deer back there and stuff, but over the last, I'd say 4 years, it's thinned out to a point where I don't see any deer. Turkeys, I hear one road over, and the coyotes at night. Well, I mean, we were even on podcasts, and you could hear them in the background sometimes howling so close to the house, right? So time to start thinning out that herd, and eliminating excuses.
Time to do the housekeeping.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see when I go, if I get out there doing some goose hunting, and I got my small spread of decoys out. If I
start stalking them,
turns into a coyote hunt.
Tell you what, I've had them stalk my turkey decoys.
I shot one while I was turkey hunting for the same deal. I was calling turkeys, early morning. Turkeys are gobbling back and forth, and I was hunting with Pee-Pee. It's decoys are out, and all of a sudden he says, "Bill, coyote." And off to my right, probably about 60 yards to my right, I got the crossbow. I'm not shooting with the gun. We're there. We wanted to get one with the crossbow. And sure enough, this coyote was stalking my decoys, come right across, but it was 30 yards broadside, and I let him have it. And he went, I don't know, he tearing off, and didn't make it 100 yards before he ran out of blood and piled up right there. So, I've shot turkeys coyotes while I was turkey hunting for sure.
I could have, and I've had it where I've had a couple encounters that made me a little uncomfy. I've had they were so close that I'm sitting against a tree, and I put my stake blind around me, and I got my decoys. I got my jake and this is when I used to religiously hunt with a jake and a hen. It was just probably 15 or so years ago, but I put my jake out at 15 yards and my hen out at 30, with the theory that they're going to come past the hen to the jake first, right, to beat it up. Yep. And I'm sitting there, and next thing I know, I got movement to my right, and I look, and that coyote's just come out of the woods right on the edge, and he's like 8 yards from me. And at this point, what goes through my head, and I've had it with raccoons come down the same tree I'm sitting against too, and standing just sitting right there, not know you're there because you're not barely even moving. And then you're going, okay, what is the fight or flight distance that is going to be? So at this coyote at 8 yards, if I move and he sees me, is that far enough away that he thinks I can get away? Or is it close enough that it's, holy crap, I've got to attack? And a coon at 4 yards or 3 yards is same thing. Okay, don't move at this very moment, because if I move and this thing doesn't like it and freaks out, he's too close to even get my gun on him. Like we're into rabbit squirrel ripping all over Todd. So yeah, that's my big worry. He was that close. I moved and he took off, and like dead afraid of me. And then the other time I was bow hunting turkey. And which might lead me into another story where I was thinking of mentioning tonight. But I was hunting turkey in a tent, and I had movement right beside me, like right, and I shoot through windows. And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, boom, there's movement. Holy jeez. And I didn't know what it was because it was just movement. I couldn't see it. Well, and then on my right, movement. And I'm like, holy crap, is that two turkeys? And I got one decoy out in front of me at 10 yards. And so I'm not even moving. I'm just sitting there, because even shoot through windows at that close. And I'm thinking, I need him to get in front of me, but not right beside me, because I can't move. So I'm just frozen. And next thing I know, it was two coyotes. And right up, I couldn't see them. They were that close to my tent. They were below my window ledge. So they were creeping up on my decoy. And then I looked, and there's another one way out at about 50 yards coming around on the other side, and another one to my right coming around the other side. So 4 of them were closing in on my decoy. And so I went to reach for my bow, and I picked it up. And soon as I made motion through that shoot through window, they were that right in front, like they seed me and they took off.
Gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I bow hunt and I see a coyote, it instantly turns into a coyote hunt. Gun hunting,
it doesn't really. I've let them go in black powder. I've let them go quite a bit in black powder.
Well, I was just going to say, when gun hunting, it's different. I don't know. I've had the opportunity to shoot them while I was actually it was a black powder hunt up north, and I let one pass, and I kind of regretted it too. But 5 minutes later, a deer walked out and I shot it. So, if I got to thinking afterwards, if I had a shot the coyote, I would never have got the opportunity to shoot the deer.
Well, and people say this, right? Because so with the coyotes, people think as soon as I see a coyote, oh, my hunt's over, yada, yada, yada. But let me tell you something. How many times you've gone for a hike in the bush and got close enough to see a deer? And then how many times, what you don't realize a lot of times is that deer may look like it runs away, but it will circle way wide and come back behind the danger because it knows you're going that way. And so with coyotes, I believe it's the same thing. When a coyote comes through, it may push the deer a little bit, but they're going to, as soon as they can, they're going to break to the side and get back around behind that coyote because the coyote's moving that one way. And so they'll get behind it. So if you have a coyote come through and go by you, if there's a deer behind you, that deer quite possibly could go down around and then show back up in front of you because it was going around out of the way of the coyote. And so I find that, they bring down a lot of deer right through the year. But if you're deer hunting and had a coyote go by, you gotta and haven't had any movement or seen anything. There might not be. People are like, oh, my hunt's ruined. I don't know. I've shot deer from a 4-wheeler ripping through, pushes the deer to you, right, and they'll get out of its way and come wide around it. And you think, oh, there goes my hunt. Nope, it just moved the deer towards you.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no problem shooting a coyote at the right time, and and helping, save a turkey, save a fawn, save that, because there's just so many more around. Actually, I did a small game survey for the ministry the other day. They sent me it was funny. They sent me a little pamphlet and they said, "Hey, you've been randomly selected to do survey." I'm like, "Yeah, you choose the almost guy to do a small game survey. Hey, good on you, right?" But, so I did.
They
the
even have to hit the conservatives, Bill. The conservationists.
I'm a severe conservationist, and I told them I missed a bunch. I've seen a whole bunch there, but I actually what I did say was I think the amount of small game is being affected through the coyote population, and I would love to see it here like it is in St. Thomas, is actually what I wrote on there. Not that I've ever hunted your way, but the stories, I mean, I suppose you guys can tell a good story, let alone have a bunch of rabbits piled up in front of you. But, I think there's enough small game that you guys could make a hunt of it if opportunity came up.
All the time, right? Like, and that's what, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Dad? I think I'd have a hard time moving away because we live in a pretty decent mecca of animals, right? Like there's maybe ducks aren't as popular, but we got a lot of geese, got a lot of turkey, got some amazing deer and some good sized ones. Look in the record book and see where they come from, right? And then rabbits, not a problem. Can find whackload of those. And we got our fair share of coyotes, don't get me wrong, but we also have a fair share of coyote hunters. So yeah. But yeah. So you actually put that on there. Yeah, we want it to be like that area.
I did. Even just the weather. You go an hour north, you get north of London, and it's like a snow and storm belt. And North London always gets more than South London.
Yeah.
We're just
it's a little harder on the turkeys, right?
South London. And then you go an hour east or an hour and a half west. There's snow belts you got to go through if you're going anywhere.
Yeah, we're in a good little spot, I think.
Yeah, you guys got it pretty good down there.
You go anywhere in the winter and you figure, okay, I got to get an hour east of here before I'm out of the snow belt. I get an hour east, and I've got an hour drive after that. Get through and hope there's no snowstorms, and then the same way with west, and same way with north. That's hard on populations, right? That's hard on turkey populations and stuff like that for sure. Foraging for food if it's a harder winter, then
sure.
So yeah, but
I think the population this year is going to be good. I mean, the winter wasn't as harsh. I think the beards are going to be longer.
I just said this last night too. Here's my grumble. Is when it's nice this early, I believe the turkeys start to breed earlier. And so it's going to be a harder hunt because they're going to have already gone through cycles. Hens will be nested. And some guys will say, well, the hens are nested. That means the toms are going to roam. I think they're going to be lazy. They're going to be smaller birds because you'd think they're going to be bigger because they've been able to eat, but we're going to be on the backside of what I'm going to call the turkey rut, where those turkeys running around looking for hens and wearing off all that food that they've got. So that's just
I think
my
you're right.
thought.
I mean, I've seen that in numerous years before, where there's still snow on the ground at Easter, and I'm going up to my parents' place and calling birds right into me. They're ready to breed at that point in time, and we're 3 weeks away from the season to start.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I said that drive. I said, man, it might be a harder turkey season this year.
Hopefully this COVID stuff right sizes itself, and maybe I can shoot down there for a morning or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See what you guys got going on.
Yeah. Be awesome.
Absolutely.
Bring my son or something down.
It'll be after we get ours, right? Because we don't want none of that jinx and. You hunt with that almost guy, it wears off on you, then what you do, right? Then next thing you know, what are we talking about? We're talking about tea and knitting sweaters or something like that because we got no stories anymore.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, not in this podcast, but I told you. My mom sent me something today too. She thought it was pretty funny. Actually, I have to tell you two stories. She listened to the podcast.
She hates me more now.
No, because you didn't talk much on that one. It was one of Emily.
Does she listen to them all or just certain ones?
I think certain ones. She gets to some of the ones that maybe not have much of her interest. She'll listen to a bit and then turn it off. But so far, I haven't been swatted or my life hasn't been threatened. So she has certain ones. So, but the one that she did listen to that she was very said went quick and it was very, very informative was the one that Emily was on. And she had a lot of positive to say about that. She was like, oh, when she got to the end of it, she said, oh, it's already over, because it was very, very informative and she didn't know that there was that much going on in the background. So
right on. So she really liked it, eh?
Yes,
that's
yeah,
wicked.
she did, and she sent me something today on Facebook, my brother and I, about how golf should be, and it was I think you've seen it. They were at the driving range, and the guys with the shotgun shooting golf balls over the air beside the other ones, and she figures we've got a new sport that we should be doing it. So
I love when our parents send us stuff on social media because you've probably seen it 7 years ago, but they're just getting on there now and like, wow, look at that. Yeah, I've had that sent to me 48 times. it's the rodeo stuff too, right? The people see the little kid on the bull pretending he's JB Mooney coming out of the chute in his living room on this, and then you get that sent to you 46,000 times. Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that they can still use a computer and they're able to communicate that way. I was on Saturday morning.
You're such a nice son. And here, I just went live half an hour ago because I've now pawned my dad off on my kids. He was asking how to get closed captioning on Netflix. And I'm like, the kids are sitting right there. They know Netflix. He's yours. I'm out. I'm done.
I was sitting in bed Saturday morning. I don't remember what day it was. And, before I got up, I put scrolling through Facebook, and my dad, he FaceTimed me. and I'm laying in bed and I hit.
That's not creepy at all.
I hit decline and I was going to get up and he called right back and I said, hey, I'm laying in bed. I'll give you a call back in 5 minutes. And so I called him. I said on Facebook, I said, hey, what's up? And he says, oh, I saw this little green dot and I had to ask your mother what it was. And when I found out it was you online, I thought I'd just hit it and see what happened. I'm like, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. I thought I'd sleep in for a little bit.
But you were online, though. It showed you were online.
Yeah, it did. He was trying to figure out what that meant. And all of a sudden, hey, there's my mom and dad on the other end eating their breakfast and having coffee on Saturday or Sunday morning, whatever it was. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Technology, Don?
Yeah. I refrain from a lot of that stuff.
Oh, come now.
No, I do. My wife is on it all the time and sending stuff. And
Mom's a stalker. And she doesn't want friends. She just wants to follow so she knows what's going on.
I'll say, did you see this or did you see that? And she'll say, yeah, I saw that an hour ago or I saw that this morning.
7 years ago.
I don't have to. I know if there was a response, she's made it and I don't have to get involved.
That's it. Sometimes it's better to plead ignorance and not get involved.
Social media. I tell you what, I
hate is when they send when they get texting each other and include me. Like you can send message or text to 4 people.
Oh, you hate that?
I hate that
because we could take you out.
I keep yelling at her. Will you please take me out of the group? I'm trying to watch a movie and I'm hooked up to my Compilot, and every time I get a message, it's ring, 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 ring. I can't hear the movie, and they're going back and forth, and there's 3 or 4 of them all commenting, and I keep yelling at her, take me out of the group.
And in the next breath, if you go out for dinner with him or something, and they'll be like, What did anybody tell me that? Well, because you wanted to take yourself out of the group.
She always fills me in later. She filled me in.
Oh, yeah. You and Mom communicate.
Yeah. All the time.
That's what happens after 40 years of marriage, right? Or whatever it is.
50-something years of marriage. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Social media. Yeah. Okay. So now you baited me with that. I don't know if you did, but you did, because you would bring up this social media deal and then turkey hunting. And so
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I know you don't, because I haven't even said anything, and this isn't my MO. My MO is because I find too much humor in. I've been told you're not serious enough. many times through my life. And it depends. I mean, I think I have an alter ego or maybe a completely other personality. I don't know which yet, but regardless,
they got help for that kind of stuff,
No, that's not that's just a bonus, right? You get 2 Todds for the price of 1. So anyway,
I'll leave that one alone. Go ahead.
right. So I love being, I guess you call it a troll, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts where I'll say something I already know the answer to, and I just like to bait people. However, this was not that point that I don't know. Case in this respect. So I'm on one of the Facebook groups and some dude says, I'm new to turkey hunting and I'm just curious. I got this new shotgun. What would you think is my effective range? So it depends on how we're talking, right? There's so many facets and so many variables. And so there's a bunch of comments, but I chimed in and I'm like, well,
it's 0 if you're a bad shot.
Well, right. Which is where I was going to go. And I ended up, for the first time I think I've ever done it, Bill, I deleted my comment, which then deleted all the comments below because I love that kind of stuff. If I got lots of phone battery, let's dance, baby. I love, I judge people's intelligence by how witty they are and how they can come back. And very seldom am I that impressed. There's a few that impress me, very seldom. And I just have, and then I'm like, oh, this person's probably in the corner crying because I don't take anything serious enough. I just laugh at it because this is Facebook. What do I care? I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm me. I know who I am. So, and I just be me. And so I have a blast, but I guess other people have other personalities. I need to be cognizant, but regardless. So I get on there and I was like, well, I've shot them at over 70 yards. In fact, I have one on my wall that I shot at over 70 yards. And I said, and it dropped. I had to chase it down across a plowed field, took the shot, and it rolled. And so I leave it at that or something along those lines. And so some guy chimes in and he has to say, well, that was just a Hail Mary. Well, duh. I mean, now let's stop and look at this. Every shot you ever take, is it a guaranteed thing? No,
there's no guarantees.
Have you missed turkeys close range? Probably.
I'm not going to admit to that. You're recording this.
Right? But so I'm like, well, of course it was a Hail Mary. I mean, how often do you trace? So the way that this story went was we sat there, and I think I've shared it a little bit, so I'm going to paraphrase a bit, but we sat there all morning, no turkeys. 10:30 came along. We had a buddy that had never hunted before. He didn't even have a hunting license, but he came along, wore some of my camo, sat beside me. Dad's on the other side. We've got some robotic decoys out. You push a button, they go up and down. And so we sat all morning not seeing a turkey. And I told this guy, this is the turkey mecca, man. Like you could swing a dead cat, kill a turkey, and not a thing, not a gobble, not a turkey. Like it was absolutely the weirdest. I wonder if he was related to you. So we're sitting there. Well, next thing you know, it's like 10:15, maybe 10 after 10. We got to leave at 10:30 because he's got a meeting at 11 that we got to get him to. So it's got to be 10 after 10, 10:15. And he all of a sudden says, there's a turkey out there. And I looked up and there is this big Tom. So I'm like, oh crap. I reached down and I hit the remote on the hen, which is 20 yards to our left. And so not in front of us, because I learned, man, they'll hang up at 30, 40 yards past that, trying to get the hen to come to them, and they're out of range. So it's 20 yards directly to our left along the tree line. I want it to come to it and not look at us, look at that hen. So I hit the robotic hen and it looks at it. It doesn't care. And it keeps on walking across the field. And it's probably 60 yards out. And it disappears into the woods. Well, it wasn't 5-10 minutes later. And here he comes back, coming back across the field. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit him with some calls. Forget the robotic hen. So I'm... Well, he stops, stretches his neck way up and looks, and the field is a plowed cornfield. I mean, it's rough, and it rolls. And so he's probably on the second knoll out there, and now he's probably at 65 yards-ish. He's coming back almost the same path, but that's a long ways away. So
Sure is.
And he stretches up and looks. He brings his head back down, and I'm thinking he's going to walk right to us. He turns butt to us and walks directly away. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Well, as he goes down that next knoll, I said to Dad, you care if I run after that turkey? And Dad looks and puts a chuckle on. And I said, do you care if I go after that turkey? You ain't going to catch no turkey.
Yeah.
We got to leave in 5 minutes. Do you care if I get up and I run across this freaking field after that turkey? Because I'm thinking, if that, I couldn't really judge the hills and how much slew. If I could kind of run hunched over, I might be able to get close enough and close the gap before he sees me from the rolls in the hills. And if I can close that gap enough, I could get a shot. He says, you ain't getting, I don't care what you do. I'm gone. I am up, and in my big clod hopping boots, I am booking it across. Well, I get over the first knoll. There's 4 hens sitting right there. We didn't even know. They were 20 yards from us over the knoll. We didn't have a clue. And they and take off flying. Well, if that doesn't make him turn around and look right at me, and I'm full on running as fast as I can in a plowed field in big freaking boots. And so he looks back at me, and instead of running straight away, he turns right and starts to head for the woods. Well, now I can close that gap a little bit because he's not running away now. He's running directly sideways from me. So I keep running, and he's booking it for the woods. And I figure he's got about 10 steps, and a turkey can run frickin' quick. I figure he's got 10 steps before he meets that edge of that woods. I planted my feet, thump, thump, put the gun up, swung through, pulled the trigger. And at the time I was shooting an 870 Wingmaster, an 870 Express, waterfowl edition. I put it up, pull the trigger, and keep swinging. He's still running. I shuck a shell. I take 2 steps. I put the gun back up to take a shot again. And that's when he rolled over. It literally took that long for the pellet to hit him, to sink in, and for him to reel and then boom, 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 and roll over.
He had a heart attack.
Yeah, maybe. I turned around and looked at Dad, and I start fist pumping in the air. And Dad's going, whatever, let's go, pack up. I'm like, no. You remember this, don't you, Dad?
We never ever did. We could just see Todd from the waist up over the knolls. And we never did see the bird. I just know he stopped, put the gun up, started swinging to the right, made the shot. And then like 6-7 seconds later, he's fist pumping. And I looked at his buddy and I went, is he kidding us? Like, come on. And he said, I think he is it. He's really celebrating out there.
Oh, I was pumped. I was on cloud 9. So Dad gets up. Come on. I'm like, I got it. So they come out, and Dad's like, well, holy crap. So Dad walked and paced it off. 74 paces, right, Dad?
Yeah.
So it's about over 70 yards. Like, Dad doesn't take small steps. And so, like, that was unreal. And so I went and I had the ministry, actually, I took it to get mounted, because that's a story, man. You put that on your wall, and that's a story to tell people, right? So we took it down to Snook and had him mount it and that. And he calls me and says, I got to hold it. This bird's so old that we got to bring the ministry in. The ministry, they want to age it. I don't care. Whatever. Like, you're going to mount it anyway for me. It's going to be a while. Whatever works. And so I told my buddy that, wild turkey's the best you ever had. Well, let me tell you, that bird was tough. It did not. It was one of the toughest birds I ever ate. But regardless, that was the story. I then took it to a show where Frau was, which is they keep the record book for our province, right? For deer, for turkey. And I took it, and it's 16th in the province. And to this day, it still holds at 16th. Now, for me, that's a big freaking deal, because a lot of turkeys are shot in a year across the province. And to make it into that number, from number 1 to number 16, there's not much difference. And so to be 16th is pretty freaking cool. So I'm pretty proud of that bird.
Awesome.
And the fact that to have that whole story, like it wasn't just a small Jake. This was a 16th largest in the province that I shot, and I did it on the run over 70 yards. So, and I got 2 witnesses. So anyway, I put it on this, and this guy's like, that sounds like a Hail Mary. Well, heck yeah, it's a Hail Mary. How often do you go turkey hunting where you actually physically chase down a turkey across a plowed field in big boots, and while it's wet, your boots are clogging up with mud, while the turkey can see you? That is not an optimal turkey hunt if you want to go textbook. So, number 1, do I say all that? I wouldn't
tell you to do that on any Realtree Outdoor type show. So.
That's right. So, I did normally, that's my MO, right? Call this this dude out for overstating the obvious. Well, you have an uncanny ability of overstating the obvious. Yes, yes, it was. So
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
I let it go, and I said, I'll be honest with you. The majority of my birds that I've shot in the last bunch of years have been over 60 yards, right, Dad?
Yeah.
Because as we've stated on this podcast before, I take deer hunting way too serious. Turkey hunting, I don't. I like to have fun. I like to run and gun. I like to chase them down, and guys will argue with you. So I said, well, the majority of my birds that I've taken have been all over 60 yards because I love that style of turkey hunting. I like to keep it fun. And then so another person, and maybe the same one, chimes back in and says something along, well, how many birds have you wounded doing that? Well, now, I'm going to say something that may make me sound arrogant.
Hey, well, there it is.
There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far in the podcast, please feel free to call in with the time, and a free deck will be on your way.
Free deck, I'll do it. Free deck will be on your way. Absolutely. So it may sound a little egotistic, but I know who I am. And so I don't mind tooting my own horn. Yeah, well, what have we covered? I've shot the 16th largest bird in Ontario. I've chased one down. I've shot one on the run. I'm getting pretty egotistical on this story already. So regardless, so I said, well, I got to tell you that I've shot the majority of my birds the last bunch of years over 60 yards. And quite frankly, I said, that's how I enjoy turkey hunting. So this person asked, what's his effective range? I'm answering what his effective range is. So somebody else chimes in. Well, how many have you wounded in those years? And so here's the arrogant part. Well, I think I can count, and I know how many I've missed from when I pull the trigger to when they drop. And Dad, you've hunted with me every single time.
Yeah.
So I believe that totals 3 in 20 years that I've missed.
That you've missed.
And one of those, I actually hit with my bow, put it right through the center of that turkey at 12 yards on that same day those coyotes came up on each side of my tent. I actually had a Tom come in after they left about an hour later. I put that arrow right through him, right through the middle of him, which I wanted to go a little bit lower and try to ground him. And he wasn't popped. He was walking. I put it right through the middle of him. He flew up sideways in the air, landed back down at 15 yards, looking at my tent, gobbled, and walked away. I went and got my arrow. It's got the inner fur from the turkey, like through the feathers, and it's got that fur rolled up on it, blood. And we looked for 3 hours. I went back that night and looked for another 2. I had a kid come through on a 4-wheeler, and I asked him to help us look, and we never found that turkey.
It's amazing. It's amazing how they'll bury themselves under a log.
I've heard this.
Whatever it is. They just
I've never
disappear.
seen it. But regardless, I said this on this Facebook post. And so the other time was me and Dad trying to get a doubleheader, and I have no idea what I was aiming at, I guess. I plumb missed. I mean, it was what, Dad, 40-yard shot?
Oh, it was a good one. I would say it's closer to 50 because I was iffy about it. They were coming, and then 5 hens came out across the field to our right, and they made an abrupt turn away from our decoys and started going towards the live hens. And I said, oh, darn.
1, 2, bang.
It's got to be now or never because they're going to get further away. And it was long. It had to be at least 50 yards.
I appreciate that, Dad. But still, I missed. And it ran away.
Dad,
bring that up, Bill. Dad got his.
No, I was just curious. Don, did you get yours, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I'm not surprised.
Fell right there, and Todd's turned around, flew away. He fired twice more, and it kept flying.
And I ran out of shells before he ran out of birds.
Yeah, I said, I got mine. How'd you do? He says, shut up.
And then the other time was a few years ago in the field where we were goose hunting when you came down for the night hunt. And in the backfield, it rolled, and I walked down the tracks, and I looked through, and there is a whack load of toms coming out of the woods, and with heads. And I'm like, holy crap! I belly crawled because the field rolled. I belly crawled across, and I guessed, man, I bet you they're 65 yards. I've shot them farther than that. I lined up, and I pulled the trigger, and every turkey scattered because I had to get up on my knees, and they all looked at me as I lined up, and were like, what's this? And then bam! And all of them. I mean, there had to be 18 turkeys in that field. They took off back into the woods, and I bam, bam. bam, as they were running away. And I paced that off, and I was very bad. I guess I'm not a great 3D archery tournament shooter because I think it was about 88 yards.
You're a little further than you thought it was it?
I was crawling across that field. But so that one, maybe I did wound. But I mean, hey, how many people have shot at 20 yards and missed, and did you wound it? So this person's like, and I'm going, you know what? This guy was just asking, what's his effective range? I was given stories. And so I'm like, I've hunted for 20 years. I've got 13 mounts on the wall, and this is what I've done. I've shot them over 60 yards, majority of them, da-da-da. And some guy's like, wow, so you had to tell us you had 13 mounts. Nobody's impressed. And there's guys on here that have been hunting for 38 years. And I'm like, really? Because that would be my dad's age. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of those, but okay. And really, what did any of that have to do with the dude asking about
that's the
what's
point,
the
right?
effective range of? I was just trying to. I don't need the accolade. I could put pictures of myself up on Instagram and on Facebook, and I don't have to go on those groups for accolades. I want to toot my own horn. Trust me, I got other mediums. But yeah.
You know what? You're absolutely right. That's part of the reason why I don't get into the inner comments and that, because I just can't stand the negativity. I really can't. I can't stand that people are, maybe even the guy that was legitimately asking a question, maybe not on this case, a new hunter. Let's just say there's a new hunter out there that's asking a question and just gets tore up for not knowing.
Yeah.
And that bothers me to no end, because people...
Egos. It's egos. So I can admit I have an ego.
Arrogance.
Yeah. If you can admit you have an ego and know it, then you can help people, because I know who I am. I have an ego. I'm going to try to manage it. But it's the people I don't think they know they have an ego, and that really hurts them. Like, to me, why did this guy even care enough to comment, well, you're wounded birds? And what are you going to change my mind? Clearly he didn't know who he was talking to, because this is how I hunt turkeys. And after what my point is saying, I've done it for 20 years, is I did the wait till they're 30 yards in. That is too serious and boring of a hunt for me now. I mean, if they do, I'll still shoot them there. Trust me, that's still fun to do. But I don't usually wait all day for one. If I hear one gobbling, hey, I'm coming after you.
Yep.
Quite frankly, I don't know why anybody asks a question on Facebook, because there's too many people out there that just, I don't know, they just say anything. I've seen people put pictures. Can you tell me what this animal is?
Well, that becomes a big joke. El Chupa Brera.
Yeah, they're on there. They'll name like 8 different animals. Like, I'm trying to think, okay, is that a mink? Is that a marten? That somebody should really know. There's differences, right? And so you get somebody to give an answer, and the next thing you know, and then it just goes crazy. Somebody will even say Sam Squatch, like, here's the guy he really wants to know. He's curious.
Does he really want to, Dad?
Well,
or
I
because
don't know.
I'm the dude saying Sam Squatch?
I wanted to. I saw the picture. I thought, okay, what is that really? And who knows? Why would you even put that question on there?
Right. Well, I only do it if I have lots of battery, and then I guess
go through those anymore.
That's when I get called a troll, which I had to look that up. I didn't know I was a troll, but I will own it. I have a blast. Anyway, that's my rant. So you got my turkey hunting story. You got a little bit of bragging, some egotistical, but you also got my rant. Look at that. I covered the gambit.
That was a full circle, close the loop type Todd story right there.
That's a todgent and a half. That's what we call that, folks.
It's good. I don't know where else to go, but that was my tea's getting a little bit to the bottom of the glass here, which is cause for concern.
It's just about that time. You got to put it down, pick up your knitting needles, and we don't want to impede you from doing that, Bill.
Well, I appreciate your.
What do you knit when it becomes summer?
Now.
Like, the weather's getting warmer. Is wool still a thing? Like, what are you going to do now?
I'm always going to wear wool. I mean, it's just hot tea and my hat. They go so far, and we're going to make some new projects for the summertime here, just to keep you guys on the edge of your seats and interested, I think.
So, I'm looking forward to it. A gun koozie.
I'm anxious. You know what? I'm anxious not to go too far, because we're at the end of my teacup here. But I'm anxious to get onto the trap field, and I saw the schedule out for the ATA shoots, and Candace and I had a conversation. And this is what we were talking about. Candace and I had a conversation, and she said, "You know what? Maybe financially this year, just because my daughter's going to school, you can't hit everyone." Well, why don't you pick a couple? She
You were
said,
going to hit everyone financially. I don't know if anybody can hit everyone.
No. Every weekend or something like that. There's one. Last year, my thought last year, honestly, was every weekend try to go and hit one. Learn a new. Find a new club.
If you were able to do it every weekend, you'd darn near make the Ontario All-Star team.
Oh yeah,
just because of target requirements and stuff like that. I think you shoot that much, you'd get better. But yeah, I think so. I think you should do it, Bill.
I honestly don't know where I'm going this year, Bill. Even myself, like Wednesday night, I'm still fighting this shoulder. I'm exercising it, but I can't get past 22. My best score has been 22 since I ripped.
Oh, and he looks apart. All weird trying to put the gun up. Like I make fun of him. I should. I got to figure out a new way of shooting because I hold the gun different. The gun doesn't do what I want it to. He needs a lighter gun. He's shooting the heaviest gun on the planet.
But right now, I need to get the strength back in this arm, so I don't want to exercise with a light gun. I want to struggle with my own gun to build up the strength. By the time I shot the third round, I'd put it up and it would fall. I'd have to put it up again. My arm was worn out. So I want to get the strength back. So honestly, I don't even know where I'm going.
Steroids.
Registered targets this year.
Steroids. Well, I got my old trap gun. It's light. We'll get you going.
I think what we committed to, Candace and I said, why don't you, the Thursday night deal is just a practice night. She said, why don't you go out, shoot 2-3 rounds every Thursday, make it a weekly, no matter what's going on, Thursday night, you're at the gun club for two or three rounds. I'm like, I'm married to the right woman if she's telling me to go to the gun club.
Well, that's what
second, that's what we do. You're absolutely right. And second, she says, pick a few and go.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the St. Thomas ones are
3 rounds.
Oh, you have to come to the St. Thomas. They're the biggest.
Well, it's
so we got the May 2-4 shoot. You got to hit the provincials. We're going to have the Canadians this year is going to be, the rumor is it might be satellite shoot, meaning at various different clubs across Canada, right?
Be interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, as the season comes, like I told you before, I am not shooting when I can't feel my fingers. It's not enjoyable to me.
I agree. And, we went and shot last night. It was actually nice.
It was beautiful last night.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It got a little bit windy. The wind started to pick up a bit, but it was all right.
Those are just excuses, Todd. Just excuses.
I need something.
Me too.
You're going to know it when I don't need excuses. I will tell you the scores when I don't need excuses. When I don't tell you the scores, you're going to hear excuses.
All right.
That's just
I'm hearing excuses.
That's just a trap shooter MO. That's how you roll.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for the chat for tonight. It was good therapy and everything else.
Yeah, I got it off my chest now. I don't have to go on social media and troll anybody tonight. Maybe not, unless I get bored.
You got a full battery?
I do. I got a full battery and a couple more fake accounts. I'm ready to rock.
All right, guys. Well, you have a good weekend and more stories next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Bill.
I'm looking forward to the walk home. It's nice out there. So it's good to hear your voice again. You take care.
I'm looking forward to him walking home.
All right. Be safe.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bill. Have a goodie.
And that'll do it for this week, folks. For the Redneck Country Podcast, I'm Bill, the Almost Guy Tom.
And I'm Todd. Thanks for listening. And folks, if you want to be part of the podcast or you want to give us some feedback or really contact us about anything, feel free to email us at podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Again, that's podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again next week.